Hello again, my name is Jason, and I'm going to be talking about Serpent of a Dark God by John Brown. If you've been watching the videos that I've been posting, you will possibly get a sense that I like every book I read, and that's not the case. This one in particular. I'm not sure exactly what it was that put me off this book, but the book is well written. The characters are fleshed out and three-dimensional rather than being flat characters. There's a lot going on. There's politics involved. There's dynamics between the different races involved. There are threats from inside, threats from outside. It should have been, to me, a book that I really liked. I really wanted to read more, but I got to the end and I'm like, I didn't like it. Like I said, I couldn't exactly pinpoint what it was, but I can't. I just don't know what it was about the book that just turned me off to it. So, Servant of a Dark God. Like I said, there's a lot going on. There's in the political arena, the world is run by the Divines, and they have vast magical powers, and they basically are the top of the kingdom. And then it kind of trickles down to the less important people. Well, this is an empire situation, so the center of the kingdom is across the ocean, and they've sent soldiers and things, and they've established a presence here, and they've subjugated the race. The race is anyway. They've subjugated the area, and they've taken the local tribes are basically subservient to these other their conquerors. Now, they're not. They are a benevolent race. They're just expansionist, and so they have taken over, but they're not necessarily putting them in a slave condition. You may read in descriptions that they are slave-like. Well, they are subservient. They are considered less than their conquerors. The conquerors consider themselves higher beings. Read into that what you will. But while this is going on, there is a monster. She's called a mother. And in times long gone, there were more of these creatures, and they fed on humans. They drained them of their power, and that's how they got their own power, and that's how they lived for so long. Well, this mother wants to reclaim her place, basically. And so she constructs a servant out of sticks and mud and sends it out to gather the beings that she needs to harvest in order to sustain herself. Now, the way that magic works in this kind of society is that you have the ability to drain life from other people, and that ability to drain life you can then use to fuel your own magics. It's by no means the only way to get and sustain power, but it is a way, and to me it seems somewhat like the D&D Dark Sun universe, where you can use magic, and there's no cost to the environment. But if you become, I believe it's a desecrator, could be a corruptor. Anyway, you then drain magic from your surroundings, and that makes it worse for everybody else. So there are those beings that can use magic, and they can use it in a benign way that powers their spells and whatnot. But there are those that are very, very much more powerful that do it the other way, where they drain life from victims. Well, there's this, like I said, there's this creature running around, and it's harvesting people and animals and whatnot for the mother. And there's a young man named Talon who comes from a magical bloodline, and his abilities have been hidden from him. His family, well, basically, magic users are believed to be soul suckers, basically. And so anyone who shows magical aptitude a lot of times is immediately set upon and killed because of this ability. Not necessarily that they would use their abilities in that way, but because it can be used that way, there's a lot of stigma against it. So Talon becomes the subject of a hunt, which then draws more and more people into it until you have a divine coming from the seat of the empire to figure out what's going on over here. And well, he ends up coming over, but that's for a different reason. But he comes over and ends up being drawn into it because of the Führer and and everything that's going on in this the community between the conquerors and the mother and the conquered. So, like I said, there's a lot going on, and it seems from reading the description of the book, and even from reading it, I could see that it was written. It was well written. It was well thought out. The situation was such that it should, to me, have been a great book. I got it because this is the kind of book that I like. But I read it, and I got rid of it. I don't know what it... I can't pinpoint exactly what it was. With some books, I can pinpoint exactly the thing about the book that just drove me nuts and made me put it down and never pick it up again. This one, I can't tell you. I was reading it, and it just, something rubbed me wrong, and that was it. And there are, John Brown has written other books. This is only the first book in the series. There are other books that come afterwards, and I have no desire to read them. They are possibly better, but this just kind of soured me on the whole thing. So, if any of you have read Servant of a Dark God, you liked it, please let me know. Tell me what you liked about it. Tell me what it was that, if it's not like me and I'm sitting here going, I read it, I can't pinpoint what it was about it that just turned me off. Hey, let me know if you felt the same way. Let me know what you didn't like about it. Once again, if you can pinpoint the source of your dislike towards the book. Anyway, like I said, I read it. I thought the whole time. So it was not bad enough. I'm not one of those people who they pick up a book, they start reading it, and they must finish. Whether or not they like the book, they must finish. I am one of those people who, if I don't like a book, it's gone. I will stop reading it. This one was good enough to keep me reading, to keep me wanting to figure out what was going to happen at the end. But for whatever reason, I didn't like it. So take that for what you will. And as always, like, subscribe, put the notifications on so you can get more content when it comes out. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them down below. I will try to get back to you and let you know more about whatever it is you ask. So, until then, enjoy what you're reading.